Hey, hey, hey. How are we all doing here? Thank you, co-host Bruce. And
Doing well,
Hello,
Jared.
hello, hello.
good, good. So, Courtney, do you go by Courtney or do you like Coco or what should I call you other than pain in my butt?
Uh, you can call me anything except for Quartz. That's the only thing I don't respond to.
No courts.
My
Okay.
husband calls me Coco. My sister, my parents call me CJ.
Hmm.
I generally go by Courtney in my real estate license world, but I usually respond to Coco. Anything but Court is fine. It's just because I have a licensed professional life and a New York life and a Utah life and an unlicensed life.
Mm.
Sometimes I separate by email and even name in order to keep track of who's from what. Meaning I have my DBA is my maiden name. My I am married. All my kids are the same last name, but it's my husband's name. So, in order to keep it separate, like if I'm at school, my kids'
Hmm.
schools, I use my husband's last name to make it less confusing for the teachers. But technically, my last name is still my married name because I didn't change it. So it's
Mm.
super, super chaos. Um, and every woman in my family has a different last name for all sorts of different reasons. Like my mom's a widow and she kept her first husband's name. I have an adopted sister. Like just all sorts of goof and fun. And when I was in my late teens, I taught telemarketing. And when I taught telemarketing, you never used your own name. So I used my cat's name and my sister's dad, who passed away's last name, in order to make it something I can remember. So I literally have so many. But my true legal name is I am Courtney Hunt.
Okay.
That's technically who I am. That's who the
So
IRS and everyone else knows me as.
I got a stage name, but it's
Hmm?
also um but it's not Zoom appropriate. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, no. Okay, cool. Cool.
Gotcha.
That's cool. So do you find it beneficial to kind of have, I mean, like obviously you do because otherwise you wouldn't do it, but like just having those separate so you're not like crossing paths, I guess,
Um,
or does it cause
yeah, even
confusion
if
sometimes?
I fill out a form online, I have something different that I write and a different email address to keep it separate. We have a family
Mm.
email address domain that we own versus my work one, which the domain is Realtor Courtney for when I'm using license stuff.
Right.
Our family one is a combination of our kids' names. For that, I have anything that has to do with we'll say like the real estate investing part of life. I have a different email address for that so that if it's a lead or whatever, it goes to that one spot and that doesn't get like spam or any other kind of thing.
Right. Smart.
But I have a parent with Alzheimer's. I'm used to checking my dad's responsible stuff for VA, Social Security, and health, my four kids, mine for work, for life, for New York here. So it's kind of hard on the brain. But if
Mhm.
everything just went to one email and Courtney and everything just went to one whatever, whatever, I think it would be a lot harder. So when I get a text, depending on how it comes through an email, I know exactly what it was for or what the purpose, if it's somebody I actually know in real life, if it's a form I filled out, if it's like I can kind of glance at it and know if it's like priority in human or not. And then that helps a lot. If I lived in one
Right.
spot my whole life and had one career, I would not bother to do this, but it does help.
Hmm. Well, and on that same uh note, like for example, when I was doing bandit signs where we buy houses and by the way, bandit signs they work. They work. You just need to do a lot of them and keep them up. And there's a whole. I did a little video about it, just in the classroom. But I would put in different phone numbers for different signs, So some would have like my phone number. So if I got calls from certain number, then I'd like, oh, okay, yeah, that sign works the best versus the other one. Or so they just kind of there's benefits of having multiple. And then when you do get calls, just like my Google Voice number, if I'm going to call them a Google Voice number, it's either going to be a spammer or someone from real estate, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely there's some benefits of kind of keeping separate, but not necessary for those that are like, oh, now I have to get three different numbers. There's benefits, but
Yeah.
it's not necessary at the same time, right, you guys? So that's cool. Okay. Um, perfect. So, okay, there's a couple things. Where is Saul here? I think he's this. So, is that is that you, Saul? That's wholesale? Who's wholesale? Is that? I think I feel like that's Saul. Oh, they cheat. Okay, wholesale changed the name now. Okay, but anyways, so shout out to Saul. We got his first deal under contract today. Got the contract back signed and everything. It is $1 million property. We have it under contract for 1135, so 1,135,000. And we're gonna be wholesaling this thing for like 1.2. So this will be provided we find a buyer, right? This is gonna be a very, very hefty wholesale fee, right? So this is pretty exciting for Saul. That's good. And he got this deal because he was calling notice of default. He called the address that he didn't want to sell the address, but his other address. So again, I'm leaving here with something. That's the magic sauce. If you're not asking the questions like when you're talking to people about do they have any other properties they're looking to sell? Do they know anyone that's looking to sell? Have they ever thought about getting involved in real estate? Come to this meeting. If you guys aren't asking those questions at the end, then I mean you're missing out so many opportunities. You already got them on the phone. Might as well ask for a referral. Might as well try to get those. It's the same with uh, Creighton on the first games where his first dial, first call, it was a wrong number. Oh no, excuse me, no, he was the right number. And it was called about a property, but he didn't want to sell that one. Then he asked, "Do you know anyone else is looking to sell?" His like, I got a friend that's actually, or a business partner slash friend that needs to sell property. So we end up buying that. We're gonna sell that through in the next 2 weeks or so and make like 70 grand on it. So those are two examples of I'm leaving here with something where you can, again, wrong numbers. So I've bought properties off of wrong numbers before, more than one. So yeah, any opportunity you have to really dive into like the I'm leaving here with something, that's gonna be mm, that's so important. Okay, awesome. Any other? Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead, Bruce. What's your question?
Uh, I'm not sure if question per se, but I ended up calling somebody yesterday, and funny enough, they're in Connecticut and they own a piece of property back here, but it's just
Nice.
land. And then I
Oh,
thought, oh well, Jared does land, so I'll keep
yeah.
this moving and see what's going on. And then um, it's land up in Spanish Fork Canyon, so
Okay.
it's
I'll
up
buy
at the
your.
tip, up at Summit Ridge,
Okay.
and so I didn't know if you dealt with. I mean, you can put a house on it, you can put a cabin on it,
Mm-hmm.
but and then so I got him, but apparently or supposedly it was an expired listing through Deal Machine. It was one of the ones you sent me,
Nice.
and um, but there's still a realtor attached, and so I guess he had his
Mm,
realtor reach out to me, and I haven't. He just left a message. I haven't talked with him yet, but didn't
nice.
quite know because obviously I have no idea. That's 279,000, or yeah, 279 is what they're asking for 12 acres roughly. Um, Up there. And so I'm not sure exactly which step to take this to next or where
So
we go
it's
from here.
it's 200. So, well, do we know if it's improved land, if it's been plotted?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's actually in Summit. Let's see, Summit Ridge. Oh, what did he call it? It's a development up there
it
that
already
they've
has
done. There's
utilities
like,
and everything.
yeah, there's a Plat C, Plat D. Yeah, the utilities are
Oh,
right up
okay.
against, they're to
Nice.
the road, and then you have to put them into your wherever you're going to put your house.
Yeah. So let me give you guys a quick little crash course on land development and kind of like the phases of it. So as you go past each phase, the value of the property goes up. So there's like just dirt. Like there's no utilities, there's no it's just land. That's just a lot, right? But when you say an improved land, that basically means that the utilities are there because depending how far away, let's say it's a lot in the city and it doesn't have utilities yet. So that would cost like anywhere from, depending where it's at, could be 20, $30,000 extra just to put in the utilities, right? So when you say if when you ask if it's an improved land, that's referring to like the utilities. And I could be a little bit off, but this is just to my understanding. So when it's improved, that means it has like the utilities in. And then when you say when it's plotted, that basically means that it has utilities and like the city has approved because if you're gonna build anything, whether it's a city or county, depending on where the jurisdiction kind of falls, um, the city has to approve the blueprints. And so when you say it's plotted, it's like, okay, cool, this land is it has this like duplex that's ready to go, or they approve the plans so the builder can start building, once they, obviously get more permits and all that fun stuff. So even like it looks the exact same, but you have like just a pile of dirt basically versus something that's improved and plotted, that increases the value dramatically because it's the builder doesn't really have to do anything. Because one of the biggest things with when you're doing development or land deals is it takes a lot of time to improve and get those things, even like nothing like physically happened there really, but a lot of that stuff can take a long time and you have to make sure that the city's happy and that they're and you the challenges with a lot of like development is you get it's similar to HOA. They're not as bad, but you get a you give the a Karen extreme power over your business, and so now this person, and this is not everyone. There's a lot of like good-hearted people, but I find more in the latter. Um, Now they have power over this $1 million project, and so you'll be shocked on how petty or not petty, but just lack of reason just to it feels like they're just being a jerk, you know. And you can have one person say one thing, and then another person comes by, does an inspection, and like, oh no, you can't do that. So you can have like even like getting permits and stuff. A guy can come by, do the inspection, and like, oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's a little squampus, but I'll let it go. Okay, cool, awesome. So you can continue. Then another inspector comes by, and then this like, oh yeah, no, you can't do that. You have to take out the whole wall and do blah 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 blah. The last guy said something like, I don't care what the last guy said. So yeah, that's so when you're looking at lands, like the more valuable it is, and also when you're looking at comps for lands, that's something you're looking at too, because you can be comping. Oh yeah, this plot is sold for 300,000. So I'm gonna buy this plot for 200,000 and then, sell it for the 300. But what you're missing is like that was like improved and plotted and yours is just a pile of dirt. So even though it looks they could be next to each other, usually if it's one, as far as like utilities, if one has it, usually the other one has it, but still, but even like the approved blueprints could be massive, just on value alone. That being said, okay, cool. So you have this, so you have this lead. The agent reached out to you. Are you thinking that you might actually want to do some of the development, or you may want to wholesale it, or what would be the best thing, that, or just not even sure what to do?
At this point, I would say not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because the guy's, it's not that he sounded desperate, but he sounded motivated. And then I checked it and it only has a lien. So there is motivation there.
Mhm.
Probably one, because he's out of state.
Right.
Two, the lien's only $1,500. So it's not like it's a huge deal. It's not like it's in
Right.
foreclosure or anything. But I'm not quite sure. I mean, the area is okay. So I'd probably rather, wholesale it. But when I guess that's my question is I've never wholesaled that. Don't know how to wholesale it.
Mhm.
Not sure you can wholesale it. So that's kind of where my,
Well, the answer is yes, you can wholesale land. Um, It's just
No,
the buyer
I
pool
know
is
you can
smaller.
wholesale land. It's just this particular piece.
Oh, okay, got it. Um, well, one, it's just finding the right buyer because it is development land. I mean, that's a whole nother buyer's pool, right? So the
Right.
typical guys and gals that are going to be doing those type of deals, and a lot of times those guys are still like the flippers. So like, you can have a flipper on your wholesale list, and then like, oh yeah, I actually do land development as well. Like, cool. So yeah, you definitely want to. You could definitely get under contract. Seller financing, all the better. If you do seller financing, like try to get at least 18 months plus, even for like the short term. Because if someone's gonna develop it, it's gonna take, you know, 18 months, 2 years, depending what needs to be done. I mean, things can be done quickly, but it's like only if the stars align perfectly can it be, quicker than that. So if you are gonna do seller financing, just keep in mind you want to for development projects, the I mean, obviously longer is always better because it gives the end buyer more options, but to even be plausible, sometimes if you do 6 months, like just do a quick hold for me for 6 months, then it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay until I get financing, but it'd be so much more attractive if it was financed all the way through the project. With that being said, yeah, I think just get your numbers, or you get under contract, try to do some creative financing, is phenomenal. And you guys heard me talk about when I was talking to Kent on Friday. I asked him, so what are you gonna do with the money? And this is my response to people that are not necessarily motivated to sell, like maybe they have multiple properties, so but maybe real estate's not their full-time gig. And so asking them what they can do with their money, and they'll, oh, put it in the stock market, I'm gonna do this and that. And like, oh, really? It's awesome. What kind of return are you seeing in those accounts? And then I just either offer seller financing matching that, um, or I'll bump it up a point depending on how much it is, right? So with Kent, he was getting 12% return, which I don't know how true that is. That's kind of, I mean, maybe for like a year, but consistently, I don't know about that. But I said, okay, great. What if I did 12% interest on your loan? Or 12% interest, I'll match it and it's backed by real estate. So, I mean, you guys all heard that he's pretty stoked about that. Unfortunately, he couldn't, by the way, he couldn't make the call yesterday, so we have something scheduled later on today. Try to do the same time now, but that didn't pan out. That's okay. Um, and then yeah, so just showing them, if I can get you, okay, for example, like the phrasing that I use is similar to what Richard Stock teaches. It's like if I can get you 12% on that loan, like using Kent's example, uh, backed and is backed by real estate, that wouldn't interest you, would it? Well, what do you mean? Or a lot of times they'll pick up what you're putting down, depending on the person, right? So yeah, well, yeah, if I buy the property, and then we do, you're gonna charge me interest, and you said you're getting 12%. What if I can match that? And it's backed by real estate, so I mean that's probably one of the safer investments. And then they can talk about it if that's what they were doing and that's what they were getting, then a lot of times they're going to be very at least open to discussion. Does that make sense? So like, what do you plan to do with the funds once you sell it? And I like to say funds instead of money. And this is not like you have to use the words funds, but we're like good, better, and best, right? When you're saying like, what are you gonna do with your money? When you say like your money, for some people, it's very, especially in Utah, it's like kind of what's the word? Cliche, not cliche, taboo to talk about money and things like that, right? So when you say funds, and the same when you're working on sales, like what do you need help getting the capital for this, or what are you gonna do with the capital once you sell? It doesn't seem so personal. It seems like a abstract object, right? If that makes sense. Um, so yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, just looking at Natalie, I did unlock your other classes that were blocked off, by the way. I know you messaged me, I didn't respond, but yeah, today got so everything should be unlocked for you. Yeah, cool. I think if you get it on seller financing and then with land, try to give yourself more time so that you can find a buyer because it's gonna take so as much, if he's in a hurry, he was motivated, maybe you can't do faster than 2 weeks, but give yourself 3, 4 weeks if you can. If you can close sooner, awesome. And typically for like land deals, if they're in it, because it does take longer for due diligence in development slash land deals because the you have to work with the city and the city has certain time frames, so like only like certain days of the week or certain days of the month that they'll even discuss or talk about certain things. So anyone that's in the development understands it takes a long time. So if you do like ask for extended due diligence, whatever, they may or may not like it, but it's not like going to be a shocker if they're in that business. If that makes sense, right? But yeah, I was kind of going off in tangents there, but what does that make sense, Bruce? Or are you, how can I help? Do you want to call the guy now?
No, it what's that?
You want to call the guy now? The agent?
Well, it definitely makes sense
Mhm.
because it's all familiar.
Right.
But I guess maybe I guess my question is this a time to ask, do I really want to do land development or do I really want to focus on
Mm,
something else? Is
sure.
that a right question to ask, or is that
Yeah, it's a great question to ask. It's, I mean, it's going to take, well, so ask yourself, what are your current goals, right? So, I mean, as wholesalers, or at least someone that has wholesaling in their toolbox to use, um, when you're looking at a deal, it's like, okay, do I want to do this flip? Right? Is this a flip right for me? Is this project right for me? Like if my goal is like, I just want to get some quick cash in the next 60 days, I want to make like 20, 30 grand in the next 60 days. So maybe the flip isn't gonna get you that goal that quick. And so you're like, I'm just gonna wholesale for the 20,000 and I'll get my goal. Then I can put that towards the next one or it's like, this is actually a great flip for me because it's close to my house or project for me, right? So it's like kind of what your goals are, what you need accomplished. Because the land deal, it's you have to get different type of funding to because hard money lenders will still lend like maybe up to a year depending on the lender, but that's because it takes a lot longer to kind of do it. But you can do things like get it improved, like buy the lot, like the pile of dirt, and then get the city to approve. You get a architect and they draw up blueprints, and then the city approves them, and now it's plotted on the county records. And so now that pile of dirt, without you picking up a shovel or do anything with it, and now it's worth more. Um, and you're going to learn so much along the way, and you may end up looking like me because you pulled out your last hair, but you can grow a beard, so it's fine. Yeah. So yeah, it's just really what your goals are. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, are you okay waiting 18 months to get paid on it if it works out? You're paid. The development has the biggest potential of ROI, at least in my experience, but it's also has higher risks because the projects take so long for it to realize. You buy the property 2 years later, then you actually sell that improved land, that built new duplex or whatever. The paydays are like 6 figures plus. Um, but if the market crashes during those 2 years while you're developing, then you're stuck holding the bag, right? There's a development here in Tooele, not too far where I live, and this is back in 2008, and they were developing, so they had all like the foundations done for like 5 or 10 houses. I don't remember how many it was. It's a big chunk of land. There's a bunch of foundations, and then they stopped because the funding went out. Like 2008 happened, it crashed, and so like they just like. Mm-mm whether they ran out of funding or whatever. Like I only knew about it because I was talking to the city planner and he was like, yeah, you should check out this thing. And he was pointing, again, the city officials, I know I was just kind of just knocking them, but if you get on their good side, they can be because then also like the same sometimes people are just generally really good, but even the Karens are like, yes, like it almost feels like it's another power trip too at the same time. But I'm kind of generalizing here. So, but you want to be on their side, and I try to buff up their ego, play to their ego, not against it. Um,
You're just speaking their language.
right.
Okay, yeah.
I'm speaking their I'm talking to their drive. That's what it is, right? So, yeah. So what's your goals, Bruce? What do you think you want to do?
Well, at this point, I think eventually land development might be something I would be interested in, only because I want to do new builds, things like that. Because I know that there's 5 million houses nationwide that is a deficit, and so they need to have more. There need to be more homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, this seems like a recreational property, and I'm not in the right now. I'm not in the what's the word position to sit on something for 18 months waiting for something to happen. I'd rather,
right.
kind of figure something else out. But I thought bringing this to the group might be fruitful. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of so like I say, mine right now, my intent is to kind of get something under my belt so that I can keep moving forward, and then eventually do with land deals that are a little bit closer to home. In fact, the one guy I contacted last week, he's got developments in other areas, but I told him as soon as he hits Utah County again to let me know. And so the hope is that by the time he comes back to me, I'll be in a better position to be able to take advantage of what he's got to offer.
Sure. No, I dig that. So it sounds like if you get the contract, it sounds like it's something you want to wholesale, right?
Right. If there's something that, yeah. And like I say, it's all developed. The whole thing is, it's all developed. And it's been developed for 10 years. So I'm under the assumption that either he's just having a hard time selling it because, and I don't know how long I wasn't able to check the expired listing, how long it was, but I know the development itself has been around since, well, at least the Soldier Summit Estates, property's been around since 2000, but I'm not sure. It looks like it's changed a few hands when I look on the county website.
Yeah.
Changed a couple of hands, and now it's into his, and I don't think it said it had a mortgage.
Well,
on it.
do you want to call the agent now? I know you got 15 minutes before you got to bounce, but if you like, whether you take point and then we can answer like on, we can give your pointers on just through a message, through the chat, or we can both be on it and then we go back. This is my partner Jared, and then we can ask questions or whatever. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but when would now be a good time to talk to your lead?
Well, if it would be beneficial to the group, that's what
right.
I'm.
So, and I was going to talk about, kind of pulling up comps and, doing MMA is always going to be beneficial, right? I would rather do an MMA than teach, or because you're going to learn more from an actual MMAs versus just me jibber jobbing. What do you guys think? Do you guys should we just talk to the agent real fast, or do you guys want to, because we still talk about,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's learn through action.
Let's learn through action.
Yeah, let's go for it.
See that? It's unanimous. So how do you want to do it, Bruce? Do you want to take point and then or do you want me to jump in? How can I help you?
I would love it if you would take point, since houses and things, I think I'm a little bit, but land, I'm just like,
good. Sure.
And I guess in a way, I don't have any way. Let's see, the way that I called him is I don't have a way to call on the same number on my computer to be able to have people hear it.
Audio.
And if I have to dip out before it's over, I'd hate to have to hang up on him in the middle of it.
Well, you can start the conversation. Hey, I just, I have a few questions. I do have to bounce in 15 minutes. So if you frame it that way, by the way, what's that book called? We talked about framing.
Is something to the effect of, I think he said his name was Steve. Like, hey, Steve, this is my partner in crime.
Oh yeah,
Jared. And I was going to have him walk through a few things or ask you a few questions or something like that? Is that something that's
yeah. So hey, this is my very better looking partner, Jared, and then just kidding. And or like this is
it's
my
because I
partner,
have too much
Jared,
hair.
and we had some questions. So you want to leave yourself also like when you're talking to the person you're bringing on the partner, even if someone has more experience, but you want to put yourself at the same level, right? So like we just have a few questions for you. Um, do you have a minute to chat? You know what I mean? So yeah. What you said was fine, but I'm just saying like just throw
Yeah,
we
no, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Mhm. Because this depending how it goes, whether you need my help further down the road, and you may be the one finishing this whole project if you needed if you didn't feel you needed help with a JV or anything, which is fine. But it's like so at least you're set up where you can go any direction and competent and whatnot. Uh if it's an agent though, right? Because is it the agent that we're talking to, or is it going to be the seller? Because he said talk to his agent.
Yeah, he basically gave him his agent's information.
Okay.
Not unwilling, not like he was willing to talk with me. If I knew a lot more things to say, we probably could have had a pretty big
Right.
conversation, and might
Well,
have even been able to work around the agent because
right.
according to deal machining, that's expired, and I don't
Mhm.
know what that
And I would almost
when it's
like suggest that let's call the seller, and see because like I have an idea when we're in past yet. I'm about trying to save you and us some money. Um, did it ask for a passcode again today, guys?
yeah.
Turn it. Dude, I don't. It's the
It did.
settings user error. Sorry, someone jumped off of mute for half a second, but anyways, yeah, let's yeah, I say we call the Steve.
Oh, so Steve's a realtor, and
Oh,
then
then whoever the ideally the owner, but we can go either way. But it's
his.
you
Well,
you
and like I say, I guess that's and I guess that begs the question too: is once they've turned you over to or given your information on the realtor,
Mhm.
do you continue to talk with them or do you go
if
back to the
if
real? I
if
mean,
they
how does
let you
that?
talk to them because that can save because it really saves them money. And then
Right.
maybe just reach out to him like, hey, I mean, my partner, I had a few questions, and we can talk to your agent, but I was just curious because I mean, if we were able to figure something out that way, we can save ourselves. What was he asking for the lot, give or take?
It's dropped from 290 down to 279. Is what?
So 279.
Or sorry, yeah. He gave me three different numbers, but he told me 276 first, and it dropped down from 297.
276 and
And it's
297. So I mean, like
almost
yeah,
12 acres.
and you can say when you say like realtor fees, but when you say, I mean, that's one thing. But if you know like what the percent, like, yeah, I wanted to see if we can save us $16,000 if we're able to have a conversation between us instead of having pay the realtor 16K, and then like, oh yeah, that is a good idea. So if you have a rough idea what that 6% and the realtors probably charge less, probably closer to 5% between if you had two realtors, but still, we're going to use the left side of the spectrum.
Right. Okay. Let me. Sorry, just getting the number for you here.
You're good.
So it's 2 hour time difference. It's probably, well, he's on the East Coast, 11, 12. So it's 1:30. And his name's Nick.
Nick. Okay.
So,
Perfect.
okay. And I'm always nervous, just like everybody else.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to
Congratulations.
tell
You're
me
human.
you're going to tell me to do all these things. And I'm going to say, hey, Nick, how's the bananas in the cereal of the breakfast of tomorrow's morning's, kind of thing.
I think that's the best opening I've ever heard in my life. I think that's what we need to do. As the bananas and cereals. Bananas. Okay. Am I calling or did you want to?
Yeah, because if I have to jump off or if I have
Oh,
to, I
got
mean,
it.
because
Got it.
in a way I'm kind of passing the conversation to you just for questions. So I figured
Yeah.
if that's, I can discreetly kind of go if that's, since I've got about 10 minutes is all.
Yeah. Right. No worries. Okay. I think I'm about to share my screen to make this.
And I did tell him that my wife and I were looking for a property in that area. So if I say my partner, he's either going to think you're female.
Well, I mean, yeah. Whatever gets the deal. I'll pretend I'm gay for a deal. That's fine.
do I, a friend of mine, just kind of asking some questions or
Yeah. Yeah.
what do I
The
call
partner and I
you?
had some questions. Do you got a second? And then,
Can he hear me? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I should be able to. We'll see. What was his first name again?
Nick, he's going to,
Hi, you've
where's
reached
your
Nick
number?
Howard with Freedom Forever. Sorry for missing your call. I'm either with a homeowner or in a meeting.
Is he an agent?
I don't know.
Sounded like that
Because
was an
it didn't,
agent.
or Freedom Forever could be like financial.
Right, but then is it with a client? Well, it could be a number of things. Yeah, who knows? Okay. All right. Anyways,
Stay
yeah,
tuned.
when you call him, let us know, or if you want to jump on a three-way other time or whatnot, then yeah. Uh, cool. Well, good job. Good job taking the action. Make it, reaching out to those people that on the list and make it, that's massive. So great. Okie dokie.
Scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the phone calls were no big deal. It's this one that was the big deal. I don't know why that.
Well, and it's weird. It depends on like your state of mind and also like when it's something like so out of your comfort zone where like because you've done a deal, you talk to sellers, you have a great understanding of real estate, but then you're talking about this branch of real estate that you just don't know yet. And so
True.
when we don't know stuff and we're so the trick is to be okay with not knowing and let people know that you're like I'm not sure, but I'll find out. Like it's one of those mindsets. It's the same with like I'm leaving here with something like, but like I don't know,
Right.
but I can definitely find out for you. Or yeah, let me do some research on that. We'll check. So you have kind of audibles where you can kind of throw in that catches everything, and then you can have time to because you 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 Bruce definitely don't know everything, but you definitely know who to ask,
Right.
right? So you're the guy that can figure that out. So great.
Thanks,
All
man.
right. Um, any other questions, or let's jump into the comps and ARVs, repairs. What questions do people have about that, or anything? If we want to go a little bit off topic, whatever, it's cool too. But what questions do we have about pulling up comps? Figuring out the repair costs because we did the dirty behind the on the back of the napkin numbers yesterday, like how to run those numbers and what you're looking for. But it's really like, okay, so how do I come up with the rehab? How do I come up with the ARV? Um, what questions do we have about that other than Jemiah?
I saw that in the ARV videos, one of them, it
Hmm.
talks about the breakdown per like the flooring, the roof, individual sections. How do you go
Hmm.
about doing that?
So the breakdown on the floor, what do you mean by as far as like the rehab?
Yeah, like how do you do it I guess
Yep.
individually?
So, well, let me share my screen again and I will show you. Okay. I use Renata West for and again, you guys with wholesaling, you don't have to have like perfect numbers. We need ballparks on a lot of the stuff so people can do their own research, but they need to start with something to get them engaged and looking to do it, you know? So it's the same with like when I'm doing deal analysis, it's like I'll do a quick, just a real rough numbers estimating, and then like, oh, that looks pretty good. And then I'll start doing some more research and deep diving, getting some real numbers. It's the same with people looking at your emails and like your wholesale. It's like, okay, how do I like, are these rough numbers that anywhere even close? Like, oh yeah, if that number's right, that actually looks pretty attractive. Let me do some more research on it, see if it is right. Um, but okay, so with the property breakdown, let's let's go up. So when I in Renatus iOS, by the way, the first month's for free. If you guys have if you're a member of Renatus, which I think everyone here is, or soon will be, then you can sign up for Renatus iOS. You just need to have, the essentials or something. And then the first month's for free. When I first started, I'm not telling you this. I'm not telling anyone to do this, but I know someone that is bald and very very attractive and humble. Um, he would cancel the subscription after 29 days and then signed up again with a new email and did that for like 4 or 5 months until I started making money. I mean, until he started making money, whoever that was. Anyways, all right. So let's just go ahead and let's check out this holiday property here. And then we're going to do a comp analysis, or excuse me, a repair analysis. And so when I click in it, Renatus iOS, I can go the repair estimator. And I'm just going to go create, make sure the square footage is right because it's going to base off the numbers off of the square footage. So I'm assuming that's the right square footage. And there we go. Okay. So on this one, so total repairs, what I like about this, it kind of covers a little bit of everything, right? So let's just say, hey, the roof, it needs a new roof. Okay. So click yes, and then it breaks things down even further. So what's the square footage, price? And let's just say like my roofer, I already have a quote, and I know my roofer guy, he'll charge me $3.50 per square foot, or so instead of what it said, $4 or whatever it is, you can adjust it to whatever makes sense of what you're getting charged. Okay. So yeah, there's a rip off, replace. Maybe it's just kind of like a patch kind of scenario, so there's a couple spots that need some repairs. So, you can kind of adjust those numbers and things like that. So if you're not sure what to do, you can just kind of go through. And if you haven't seen the property, but like you had a phone call, yeah, come take a look at it and you want to get a rough estimate, I just assume it's going to be basically a gut job, as in like you're going to have to do the full rehab. It needs a roof and all that stuff. And then we can take things off as we go. So let's just say the exterior paint. Now, on this one, it says paint exterior and interior combined. So it's doing both, the whole property. So that's in and out. Great. Awesome. So we're just going to do that, and it has, paint the fence, all that stuff. Exterior windows, we're just going to do like 10 windows. And so now we're going to go into like inside. So interior painting, we already did the interior painting, right? With that one click. So we don't have to do that again, but just kind of give you an idea. So 3,500 and inside and out, it'd be like an extra $2,000 for the outside basically. But so we already got that covered. So paint's good. Hardwood floors versus cabinet or carpet and vinyl. This really depends on like Nordstrom and then Target and Walmart. So I'm always here. And when I'm doing the flooring, I typically do the math as if the bedrooms are going to be carpeted and everyone else is going to be vinyl flooring. So if it's 1,500 square feet, so we'll just say 400, okay, 490, I guess. And then another 1,010. And then for the rest of the house, right? So whatever kind of, and this is guesstimation, okay? I do like this part where it's grouped. You can do individual stuff, but like for example, the kitchen in grouped, this is basically to do a full one. So this is really nice because it's low end kitchen, medium, Walmart, Target, Nordstrom, Ta-da. So again, I'm a Walmart guy, so most of the stuff I'm looking at is Walmart stuff. So low end kitchen cabinets, whatnot, or maybe it's like I just want to refresh the cabinets, you know. So we have Nordstrom, Target, Walmart, Walgreens. That's another one that Jay Massey didn't say, but I'm putting Walgreen category in there. So that's refresh cabinets, new countertops. Okay, so no, we got to go low. And maybe it's like I'm gonna put in a new kitchen, so we're gonna do two. We just change the number each. I'm going really in detail in this, but group bathrooms, you know, we're gonna do there's a large bathroom and a medium bathroom, half bathrooms, three bathrooms in it. We're just gonna do, or maybe this had three baths, and so I want two full baths and there's no half or something like that, you know, whatever. You can also do like by item too, so bathrooms, so like the cabinet, the mirror, you can do sink, you know. So maybe you don't want to do the whole thing, but just a portion of it. Doors and trim. It's 1,500 square feet house, so about that. Um, Plumbing, like I'm gonna do a whole new plumbing system for 1,500 square feet house. So if the house is like 3,000 square feet, then I just put a two there. Ta-da. And then contingency, I always like to have at least contingency in here because like an oops and a flip is like a $10,000 oops, you know. So if especially when you're doing your own numbers, you want to make sure you're having, you know, contingencies in there, right? So yeah, cool. So 77,000. I'm gonna save it and then scroll on top, generate a document, which this is kind of nice because Jenny was talking about, you know, performa, things like that. Like if I'm talking to a hard money lender or even with I don't send these out with my deals as much because it, there's some liability challenge. You know what I mean? I just don't want to put myself in much risk. So like the bigger buyer pool, the bigger the masses that you're sending out this information to, the potential of higher risk. But if it's like, you know, hey, I got 50 buyers on my buyers list, but I know all of them. So I'm just going to send out even this stuff here. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like I'm more, I was more detailed the smaller my buyers list and then less detailed the bigger buyers list. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's just, and I'm not even saying that people have to do something like that. That's just world of Jared. Okay. So this is, and it's cool. Like when, let's just say like this was a gut job and obviously there'll be more stuff on here, but like if I had this with me or at least there's a copy or whatever, I can, as I'm walking the property, like, you know, they just did the carpets. This did great. I'm going to scratch those two off. And now I got $3,000 that I was planning to spend on this deal, but now I can either up the offer or just ups the profit, right? So and I just kind of scratch it off and then I know like the repair costs are coming down, you know, accordingly. Or like, oh, I got to add this stuff in too. So this is how you get an itemized. Was this what you're asking about as far as the itemized?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. So
Okay.
Renaissance iOS, and I'm sure there's other apps and other things that you can do to give a rough estimate. So I prefer to do this over like just doing price per square foot. Because you definitely can do that and it's fine. So let's just say this is going to cost, you know, almost 80 grand, or 66, but it was 1,500 square foot, right? So let's just say if it's 1,500 square feet, times, you know, we'll say $30 per square foot. So 40, well, what if we did 40 times 40 square feet? Yeah. Oh, that's not what I meant. This is going to cost 600,000 to fix this property. So yeah, that makes sense. Times 40, $60,000, you know, and then you minus, you know, the contingency. So that's not too far off, but we were just kind of random pushing things. So, um, yeah. Does that make sense as far as like repairs and how I did that just from Renatus iOS? Like when you're in and also when your guys are in Renatus iOS, in my Renatus, if you're and it has to be your main account. Like I'm the learning partner and my wife's the the Renatus is under her name, and I'm just learning partner slash business partner. So to get these videos, you have to be in your the main account, not the learning partners account. But you can sign into your back office in Renatus. And oh, I'm super excited. Bill Predon's a freaking awesome dude. So is Umair. Like, I'm really excited for the classes that are coming up. But anyways, Squirrel, when you go into Renatus iOS here, oh no, my bad. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Under training, it also has Renatus iOS under the training. So it's not the actual Renatus iOS tab that gets you the Renatus iOS, but you click on Renatus iOS training, and then so for example, this gives you everything like training how to do everything here. So flip comps, how to find properties. So you can watch this 8-minute training and then teach you how to run through the comps on Renatus iOS. Uh, there should be one about, okay, here it is. The hammer point repair estimator. So this gives you how to use it in 8 minutes, right? So if you guys do decide to use Renatus iOS, then it's there. I I recommend it. The only thing is when you're on the free 30-day trial, you can't, when we discovered this, you can't download, you can't export your leads. So that's the only like downside, but that's okay. Any questions so far? So you can do a price per square foot as initial like start. I'm a big fan of just doing things like with trying to get the individual itemized. But again, you don't have to be spot on, right? If you're doing $30 per square foot, that's probably pretty darn close. Okay. And so, and even if your potential buyers like, so what'd you guys, that 60,000, what'd you come up with? Oh, we just did it does need a basic repairs, but it just needs $30 per square foot is what we did. Like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Then, check it out. Or like, how'd you get repairs? Like, well, let me send you this, and, if that makes sense, guys, are we all on the same page?
It makes sense.
Okay. Perfecto.
I have a
Now
question then.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just because I've been trying to use, is it Deal Checker or Deal something?
Mhm.
And it doesn't have those nice estimates.
Right.
And it also goes off percentage versus $30 per square feet.
What
Is-
percentage, how does that do? What's to do with that? How does it like percentage off of purchase?
I think that it just said percentage of the rehab of the something. It was either the ARV or the purchase price. I can't remember.
Okay. Do you have an example? Have you pulled one up? Because then
I can
we can
go
compare them.
find it. Which one was I doing?
And by the way, one thing that flippers can, like real estate investors, can really fish out a newbie investor or newbie wholesaler when it's like, yeah, carpet paint, that's all it needs, just $10,000 rehab. And every single flipper that will ever read the email is like, "Pfft, sure, it costs 10,000." It's almost cliche-ish where it's like, yeah, wholesalers like, oh, it just needs carbon paint, man. That's it. Like, as the roof's like caving in. It's good.
We just talked to a guy down the street about a house that he's flipping. He was
Mhm.
complaining about the carpet. That's all he had to do.
And that was his,
He was complaining about it. I was like, okay.
how to do his flip and actually had to do something to the property is terrible.
Yeah, it
He
was
should be a wholesaler. That's what he needs.
funny.
That's that. That's how I feel. I don't want to do carpet. Screw that. I want to sell paper.
Sorry, I'm still new to it, so I'm trying to find it where it is.
What
Purchase tab.
take a look and I'll keep on going and then
Okay.
interrupting when you got it. Okay.
All right.
Um, so the repairs, right? I don't know if we're gonna have time to really go into comps. We can talk a little bit about the comps on maybe Thursday call, but yeah, we're just not gonna have enough time, unfortunately. But we were talking about doing it. We tried doing MMA, so that was worth it. I do go over comps in the class training under deal analysis. So if you want to find out some stuff beforehand, I believe. in live deal analysis, you'll see us do one, and also in this analysis too. This one should start somewhere in the middle. Yeah, 16. And by the way, guys, when you see videos later in the training, it's like an hour and 20 minutes long. The training itself that it's in there, it's not going to be an hour. So like this, when you hit play, it starts in an hour in, almost like 48 minutes in. That's because that's when the live analysis starts. So I got it in there so it'll jump to where the part where it needs to be on all these videos. So when you do see some videos, because like if we're doing training here, like I don't need to redo that. I can just put the recording and let you guys watch that portion of the recording, right? Because why do it twice? Um, so you'll see some trainings like that. So that's what it's the same. If you can, this is not an hour and 20-minute training. It's like, 30-minute training on step-by-step deal analysis kind of thing. What challenges have you guys been having with your analysis or even pulling up repairs? What's been your guys' thoughts?
Never
Or
mind.
never mind.
Never mind. It was like a different option.
Oh, okay, okay. So
You
yeah,
can do stew.
got it. So it wasn't doing the percentage, or does it some other?
You can,
Mhm.
but it's only if you want to do it that way, which
Well,
I
what I'm curious what the percent does it say like where what the percentage is of the purchase price or something?
you would put in. No, I don't know where it said it.
Okay.
Let me pull it back up. It said, and it's only when you itemize it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Type percent. It just says percent of total. That's
Mm,
it. So I
okay.
don't even know.
Put total is 100,000, then whatever that percentage is, that'll tell us what the percent is.
Oh, hang on. And this was just, it's for like each item as well. So this would be for the roof,
Oh,
for instance.
huh. That's interesting. But I hear good things. I never used Deal Checker, but I've heard good things about it, the program. How much is it per month? How much does it charge you?
Oh, this is the free.
Oh, it says it has a free. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Cool, cool, cool.
Huh. I said 1,000% and in the rehab cost for the
Mhm.
roof, and then it says rehab costs $0. So,
I want to use their contractors. The rehab costs
right?
$0.
I do not know how that works. Huh. All right. We just
Okay.
won't use the percentage.
Yeah. Well, and again, like one thing you could do, like as you get things under contract, and I've done this a couple times, but if you get a contractor and have a good relationship with them, you can have them go and give you a rough estimate on or give you a bid on what needs to be done. And if you're going to wholesale it, it becomes really attractive when you have an actual real bid from a contractor. So
Yeah.
then it's like kind of real numbers, and it's like you're not saying that, the contractor's saying it. So like as far as liabilities to go, like I just showing you the bid he gave me. Like that's and you're being sincere, like I mean, that's what it comes up with, but you know how contractors are, it's always gonna cost a little more. And so but the other thing is like you can use this guy if you want. So like it has the contractor has potential of getting the project with this new person. Now they have someone else. So you could do stuff like that, guys, if you want to have your deal to be more attractive, but it does take more time.
Hmm.
So it kind of, you know, you can have relationships even with hard money lenders. I've done stuff like that with like Dane Clark and other where they look at the deal before I send it out. And I'm like, hey, I already have a because like think put yourself in the flipper's shoes, like, okay, listen, I got I got a contract. You already gave me a bid on this. Here's the bid. See the item. This is stuff that we think we need that probably needs to be fixed. Oh, and by the way, this hard money lender is already approved. He's ready to go at 12% interest, 2%. So providing you know what you're doing, it's already approved for financing. So as a flipper, it's like, okay, one, when you get a hard money lender it's already approved on, it's like, okay, it's not just the wholesaler because the wholesaler wants to make money. So they will say some will fluff the truth, as you would say, right? Um, it just becomes a lot more attractive, right? So more people pay more attention, and like even in your subject lines, and I'm kind of going on tangents here, but in the subject lines, if you do decide to do something like that, because it does take more time, but you can put in there real bids or like contractor says rehab is this, or you like maybe not so much subject line as far as the contractor, but as far as financing, like hard money already approved, financing in place, so it's like, oh, it's all our finance. Oh, they just already have a hard money that's already approved it. It's already looked at the deal. It's ready to go. So, and that's another thing too. Sometimes um, when you're talking to, I know I'm kind of going tangents as far as buyers go, but when you're trying to wholesale a deal and maybe it's a tight deal or whatever, or someone's really they want to get it, but they couldn't get the financing for it or whatever. So it's I've done it in many scenarios where like, hey, this is my hard money lender guy. What else do you need? And I'll connect them with people that I know to so Natalie Spencer called me a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about this deal I was wholesaling or I was selling, and so and it was mostly because it was I did spend a little more time because I like Spencer. He's a good guy, and so we like he wasn't entirely sure this was gonna be this would be his first flip if he got it. So I was like, well, let's give him a call. Let's call the hard money guys right now with you on the phone, and we kind of we had it was good educational for him, and then I called some hard money lenders I haven't spoke to in like a year, and so I was able to rekindle that connection too. So it's a benefit all the way around. But you can if you have the Rolodex and you have people that you can connect people to, like try to solve the problem, you can move more deals that way too, right? But yeah, so we'll probably on Thursday we'll talk more about the getting the ARV after repair value, not using agents right away, but how to do it just with just the Google machine and figure that out that way. Uh, Tomorrow, come with your list. If you need a list as far as to call because it's money making Wednesday, uh, let me know and don't be cowards and not show up, everyone. Yeah. Yes, Natalie, you have a question? Or are you saying that you were the coward? I don't know what you're doing. It's okay.
No, I need a list.
Okay, okay, you know this. Okay. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Well, I got a call here just after this one. So I love you all. Appreciate you. And yeah, let's go get some deals. Do the MMAs. All right. Peace out, guys.